This is the fourth episode of my video blog series called Let's Write. If you haven't seen the first episodes, I recommend you check them out just to get the background for this one. I promised myself I would be honest with this blog, so that's what I'm going to do. It seems that I must give up the Son of Iapito's manuscript for now. I have lost my grip on the story, and going on would be both foolish and depressing. And to keep on writing and failing to produce quality text, it's certainly not fun. I know I have preached for the last couple of videos about just running the impenetrable wall, and some might consider me a hypocrite for not following my own advices and giving up. This is, however, a great lesson for those with less experience than myself. Not every writing project works out in a satisfactory way. Sometimes you just have to step aside for your own sake as well as for the sake of the story. I know I could keep writing Son of Iapito's, but the story would suffer for it. Currently I have no grip on the story or the characters, and hammering away would just lead to a manuscript which would not have a direction nor a decent quality. If I were to hammer it away, I would eventually have to write long sections, almost the whole latter half of the story, completely anew. No, I'm not going there. And as I have said in the previous videos, I have been having a bad case of stress-related insomnia, so I just have to cut something from my life. And since finishing my master thesis is currently the priority, that's what I'm prioritizing too. Anyway, I'm going to keep on updating this vlog, since writing about creative writing is fun, and writing in English is surprisingly quite fun as well. Last week there was no video because I had a flu and was unable to speak clearly enough in English, and I still have a sore throat, so you can probably hear that as well. Today's topic is chronology. Chronology can mean a couple of things, but I'm going to focus on two particular aspects. First, should you write the scenes of your story in a chronological manner from start to finish? And second, should the scenes be arranged in chronological order? Let's start with the first aspect, the chronology of writing. I know I'm probably a minority in this question, but I think you really should start with the first scene, the chapter, and the sentence of the story, and write all the scenes in order. In order they would appear in the final manuscript or novel. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't plan ahead, make plans about what is going to happen when and where and so forth. I have noticed that the more you plan ahead, the easier the writing process is going to be, since you have something to fall back to if the spontaneous ideas you get while writing don't lead anywhere. They usually don't. Again, this is coming from my personal experience. I didn't plan at all, to be frank, my first novel or the following 3 or 4 manuscripts. I just wrote away, surveying where the events would take me and the story. This, for an extremely experienced writer, can be a good way to make stories. Hell, Stephen King has found it working for him, wouldn't you say? But for anyone who isn't the biggest writer of the 20th and 21st century, this writing style is going to be full of troubles. As I said earlier, I've had to stop writing the Son of Iapito's manuscript since I lost my grip on it. This is partly due the way I started writing the story. I had an idea and I wanted to, see where it goes. I just, started writing. In comparison, the previous 3 manuscripts I have actually finished, and one published, which ended up being my second novel. I spent weeks making maps of the milieu, creating family trees dating back generations, and doing, the basic historical reading books. And And also I asked my friend Otto to draw me some inspirational pictures of the main character or his house or whatever, which I could gaze if I was stuck with a scene or a sentence. I've had an allergic reaction with planning the story, since I thought it would suck all the life out of it. There would be no room to be actually creative with the story, to take detours and see if any of them lead anywhere. I've always loved the spontaneity, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a word, of creative writing, where you can just go with an idea, no matter how weird or unplanned it might be. Some of the best things I've ever written came to be in this manner. And this is why I recommend that you write the story in chronological order from first scene to the last. The scenes and the characters and everything else might not end up being what you originally planned they would be. This leaves some wiggle room for you, and for you to take those detours, to go along with the flow, to travel to places you haven't planned on going to. The story will not always go the way you thought it would, and if you don't write in chronological order, you might have to force the story into the pre-thought mold and change large portions of the already written parts of the manuscript. So wouldn't it just be so much more easy to just, leave that space for the story and not worrying about things going or not going to according your plan? To me, it's always strange hearing about writers who have everything figured out by the start of the writing process, and then they write the scenes all over the story, starting with the ending, then doing something about the climax, the opening scene, the point of no return. I know many people do write this way, and they can make great novels just the same, but it still baffles me that someone would choose to construct a story in such a backwards manner. But anyway, whatever works for you, okay, sure. If it works for you, go ahead. I don't have to understand it, but just don't let it stop you. The question about the chronological order of the scenes themselves is kind of obsolete, because I think, pretty sure, we all have read great novels that are not in chronological in structure. Zoe Diker's recent bestseller, The Truth About the Harry Quebert Affair, isn't chronological, and neither is Stephen King's It nor Joel Hill's Horns. Minor chronological sections of the stories are extremely common. Hell, every flashback is a non-chronological arrangement. I have personally dabbled with the non-chronological storytelling, but it seems more suiting for someone who obsessively plans the stories beforehand, what obviously I do not do. Still, even if you're writing a non-chronological story, I think you should write it in the order from the first scene to the last, because that is the best way to try and to simulate what the reader will go through while reading the story. Sometimes a writer is so deep in his own mystery-laden story and actual conclusion is obscure to the reader. The easiest way to draw your reader in is to write the story in such a way that you draw yourself into it, and this is simplest while writing the story from the first scene to the last. Again, just my opinion. Alright, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed listening me babble on. I hope to see you next time around as well. Till then, keep writing and keep being creative.